for Team World All-Stars, but it is very possible.
Yeah, definitely. Turnaround is always possible, and sometimes the way the matchups work, the way the players, match up against their opponents can be either a little bit one-sided or one-sided in a direction which we weren't really expecting. ByuL vs Harstem, going to be an interesting match. Of course, Harstem did win the championship yesterday. He is riding a high. He had a tough match against Stork just before an orbital shipyard, but I think he's still confident backstage. He's still got that smile on his face. For him, he knows that, like, no matter what happens here, he's walking away from this entire event as a winner. So I think that takes a lot of tension off his shoulders.
$16,000 or 16,500, that doesn't really make the difference anymore. That's not going to ruin your mood. The second match is going to be between Drogo and obviously the foreigners are going to be pretty good on Orbital. Orbital is also the most standard map out there right now, together with Dusk, and that's obviously a map that Koreans excel on. Everything that's standard, Koreans are godlike at.
Yeah.
However, Ulrena is very different. It's very out there. There's a good chance that the Koreans are a little less practiced on Ulrena than they are on some of the other maps.
Absolutely, and going into Ulrena here on the bottom left-hand side, we have our blue Protoss representative representing the Global All-Stars team. It is Harstem.
And his opponent here in the top left-hand side, playing for CJ Entis and the Korean All-Star team. It is, of course, the Zerg ByuL.
Ooh, very fast gas coming down there for ByuL. No, just the extractor trick. Nothing to get too excited about. I'm just very keen for this. Of course, Harstem here, he's not only playing a ZVP here, but also the final game of this series of maps on Ulrena. He's going to be up against DRG. So Harstem's definitely going to have a couple of plans here. He's been thinking about it a lot. He's had a lot of time to prepare and watch backstage. So he's definitely going to come out of this, with a plan in mind. And hey, looks a lot like that finals versus Snute. Not going to give a hatchery away for free to ByuL.
Yeah, Zerg players really hate it, I think, in general, when the hatchery gets blocked on the arena. A couple of European Zergs mentioned that a while ago to me. Something worth mentioning as well is that this is going to be the last game that ByuL will play in these show matches. He's 3-0 so far. Took care of IA on Lateral Crest, even though there was a game where IA really could have got it. He also took care of IA on Prion Terraces. And then, of course, we saw him take down, who was it? Drogo. On Orbital.
Yep.
No, wait, sorry, I'm confused now. Damn it, no!
Are you confused?
No. Yes, that was ByuN. But he did play 3 games. He played 3 ZVZs then.
Alright.
Oh no, he went for the Link Queen drop against Spock on Runes. That's where we are.
Yep.
So he's still 3-0. I was right about that part.
Yeah, indeed. Well, we're going to see if he goes 4-0 because Harstem right now did a really good job blocking that first hatchery. Going to see ByuL, though, going for his third base location for his natural, and soon enough we might just see another hatchery go down. But before then, we're going to see speed and still 2 drones in gas.
Yeah, it's kind of awkward taking that third base in ZVP. He's going to have to go for that Zergling speed to help cover that, ByuL, that is. But it just makes things a little bit uncomfortable. The rush distance is so damn fast on this map. Depth's going to be something he has to watch out for. And hey, cute little pylon block from Harstem to buy a bit of time. But these Zerglings are still going to be very annoying. He's going to have to cancel that, build another pylon behind it even, I think. And this is great for buying time, but a little bit of a pain nonetheless.
Yeah, it's not too bad though. I mean, he's doing a good job. He forced out quite a few links. These links, other than these cancelled pylon, they shouldn't be able to achieve a whole lot. As long as he gets that adept out in time, gets the Mothership Core out there as well, and don't lose any probes. I think as a Protoss player, you can always live with that. I mean, Harstem definitely didn't forget about that game that ByuL played against Spock. We were watching it backstage. He should be aware that Link Queen drop is a very realistic option, even though so far it's absolutely not looking like it, because we see more and more and more drones on the production tab. I do think that Harstem is a tiny bit worried about it, and will most likely follow his gateways up with a robotics facility.
So right now, Pig, we see ByuL still mining quite a bit of gas. He's up to 160 gas, and he's still not going for like a scouting overload speed or anything like that. Do you think this is for aggression, or is it just banking, basically?
Well, we get the answer in the production tab. I actually had no idea what he was going for, but he was going to go for overload speed. Yeah, I could pretend, but no, I'm too honorable for that, He's going to get overload speed for scouting, but really it's an inefficient opening in terms of not focusing on his minerals. But hey, what does overload speed give you? Gives you the option to go for massive scouting, see everything that Protoss has in store for you. And ByuL, feeling like the probably superior player, I'm sure he feels like the favored player here, he is going to be very confident if he can see what's coming, that he knows the correct response.
I mean, he's up 5 workers so far, but it's gonna take quite some time before he gets some actual real units out there. No Roach Warren, no layer inside. I mean, where is ByuL going to take this? A Baneling nest. Okay, so it may actually still be an evolution chamber after this, and there it is. So maybe we are going to see some Link, Queen, Bane madness after all. But Harstem, with his 3 gateway and robotics facility set up, I really feel he's in a pretty damn sweet spot to deal with any sort of this nonsense. I mean, we saw Snute try to do this against Harstem yesterday. Now, obviously, Snute forgot his evolution chamber at first, and that made the strategy a little weaker. But overall, I mean, this is a great tell already for Harstem. He saw the game before. Now he sees the speed overlord. You got to be thinking about this. I like how this is going for Harstem.
I got to agree with you, Kev. It does look nice. He knows it's coming. He's going to lock it down. But this is a very different build from the
Yeah,
previous
he's not
one.
really committing.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a very high drone count, but it's going to give him a lot of utility. So the threat here is that Harstem may overreact a little bit. If he turtles up a bit too much, panics a little bit, kind of delays upgrades, delays his third, then that can be nice for ByuL while ByuL builds his economy. But also, there's that constant potential with no Stargate down for Overlord drops to just be annoying, to go in and out. And at the moment Harstem's not looking, Banelings can drop in that probe line, and suddenly he can be having a very bad day.
Absolutely, but at the end of the day, it's still a very big investment, so he needs to get something done with it. This Overlord is empty, it's just too scare. Harstem is actually going to take control of the Zelnaga Watchtower for now, move out a little bit. A couple of Banelings will morph there on the right side of that third base. Harstem getting his own Warp Prism as well. If Harstem decides to push, how much does ByuL actually have at home? He's got nothing, man. He's got like 14 supply. He needs to crank out as many units as possible.
Definitely, and right now, I mean, that's quite a few Stalkers. We have the force field, and he even has an Immortal to back this up. ByuL right now is in panic mode. He's trying to go ahead with that Baneling drop at the same time, but it's all about defense right now. That's the name of the game.
No mothership here. So Harstem has to be careful, his unit spreading out, a big flood of Lings coming out. You know, Harstem at least forcing Lings rather than drones is good, but I almost wish he did a push out like this or a smaller one just a minute or two earlier, because ByuL has been so greedy on that ground defense so far. Meanwhile, that Overlord on the back of the natural, we have to keep an eye on the minimap, because those Banelings are about to go in.
Yeah, those Banelings may connect with a lot of probes indeed, but still though, ByuL's gonna have to defend with nothing but Zerglings, and Zerglings against Adepts and Immortals and stuff. It will all come down to the engagement. Force fields are pretty damn decent so far. I like this a lot for Harstem, man. Does use barrier there, maybe a little bit too early. The Overlord doesn't do anything yet. I think Harstem is in a phenomenal position, guys.
I don't know what ByuL can do from here. He's building Ling Bane, he's trying to build Roaches desperately, a Queen goes down, but I mean, there's a Warp Prism here, there's a whole bunch of gateways, more Adepts can be constantly warped in. One nice Baneling hit is good, but it's not enough. Harstem is just in between the rally points, killing everything. The drones are being pulled.
Yeah, and right now ByuL just pulling all his drones to try to survive, but Harstem P is dropping so many gateways, he's getting ready to just keep warping in units, and ByuL has virtually nothing left. Harstem just warping in so many units, he's in the natural, ByuL's just falling apart.
Yeah, I mean, he's making a couple of Roaches right now, but these Roaches just dying one by one, man. There are 2 Immortals standing on top of all these Acts. Adepts have done a phenomenal job in reducing the circling count. 30 more Lings are on the way. I believe there are a couple of Banelings, maybe one of those Overlords. He has 2 Banelings there, but this Protoss army is not supposed to die anymore against just Zerglings and Banelings. Split up those units a little bit, and I think that Harstem is going to keep the dreams alive here of the most miraculous comeback ever if Team World All-Stars wins the next 7 maps in a row.
That'd be something.
They can still do it. The hope is alive. Kev was actually just backstage having a laugh at it, saying, yeah, we can still do it, boys. You know, some of the other players were saying, oh, there's no hope anymore.
Oh, gets the dropping Overlord. That's a pretty decent one as well.
Oh, man, this is in the bag. Harstem closing it out in commanding fashion. I love how on point he is. You know, he's just been so good at monitoring multiple situations throughout this tournament, never getting over-focused on just the frontal fight, keeping his multitasking up, keeping that micro going to the bitter end.
There we go. Victory dance. Oh!
Harstem is truly having the time of his life at this tournament. Great win.
Absolutely monstrous opponent.
Then again, Ulrena is not Orbital Shipyard. Deer looked fantastic on Orbital. I mean, it was an absolute joy to watch that in first person and just being here. But Ulrena is very different. Ulrena is the map where pretty much everybody opens up 2 Stalkers into expand, 2 more Stalkers, and just take it from there. I think that this man may have more experience on this map than Deer, but we're about to find out. He's representing my insanity and the World All-Stars. It is Drogo.
And of course he does have an opponent here in the bottom left-hand side of Ulrena. It is going to be playing for Korean All-Stars. It is Deer.
Dear Diary, today I won a lot of money playing StarCraft.
Wow, big a joke.
I know. They come out occasionally.
I love it, mate.
It takes a PvP for me to stop talking about the game for 2 seconds.
I mean, PvPs on Arena are fun. It would be super cool to see Drogo do something very wild, you know, like drop multiple pylons, maybe go for some photon overcharge rush, but I don't think he's going to do that. I don't think Deer is going to fall for it, so I'm really just expecting double Stalker into expand 2 more Stalkers, and that's when the real choice arrives. Like, are you going to follow it up with a Robo? Maybe Twilight, but I'm not a big fan of Twilight on the Arena, at least not a quick one. So most of the time it's Stargate after the double gate expand.
Yeah, well, we're gonna see, as you guys pointed out, Ulrena has a very close, a very short amount of rush distance, basically. But of course, we have to remember that choke. You do not want to go there when there are force fields available. Now, of course, it's very close by air as well. So if you're talking Oracles, if you're talking Phoenix, or anything like it, even Tempest at this point, they can reach the base so quickly.
Tempest early on, a little bit unlikely in PvP, but you never know. I mean, if you can get air control, maybe we'll see it go there. But it's something we see more often in PvT than PvP. But Stargates are popular on this map. You're definitely right about that. And I'm definitely expecting at least Drogo to go into Stargate, and I kind of think that Deer is going to go Stargate as well, but not before, like I mentioned, we're going to see double Stalker, Mothership Core, then expand, unless one of the two decides to do something cheeky. Maybe go for 3-gate aggression, maybe proxy something on the other side of the map. I mean, if this was Haas, we all know that it's going to happen, but neither of these two guys is Haas, unfortunately.
Well, you are correct. I mean, Haas is not actually playing today. He did play before, but we're going to see. So coming in here right now, we've seen Harstem do well, we've seen Puck do well, but how right now is PtitDrogo's PvP, especially against someone like Deer? Like, what can he actually do right now?
Yeah, I think Drogo's mental state's very important as well, because he was very shaken up, very upset with that last series he played against ByuN, and you know, he was really annoyed. Actually, came backstage and was really annoyed that ByuN opened up very risky against him with a fast third CC. He felt like, you know, it was crazy that a player who was so favored against him would do that. But interestingly enough, it looks like so far Drogo's still playing a very safe sort of defensive game, in that he's just going, you know, very fast Mothership Core, very fast Stalkers, and just setting up for that expand.
Yeah, it's a little bit interesting though that Deer decided to go double Sentry after the first 2 Stalkers. Most people do what Drogo is doing here, 4 Stalkers expand. He did double Sentry after the first 2 Stalkers. If Drogo decides to drop a Stargate here, that would be good news. Oh, he might get the... No, he's not going to get the kill on the Mothership Core, but at least forces it to recall. If Drogo drops a Stargate, that would be really good, because Deer spent 200 gas on Sentries, then follows it up with a Robo. But if Drogo does the same thing as Deer, then I like Deer's build a little bit better, so we'll see. What's going to be, Drogo? Stargate or Robo?
That's a good question. That's the Robo you talked about, so not going to be a Stargate, unfortunately, perhaps for Drogo, but right now we see Deer with a quicker Robo, but what I'm fearing right now is that if we see Deer, maybe even especially on this map, going into Disruptors, and we go kind of into a forced Disruptor wars, I just don't see anyone right now being able to beat Deer's multitasking.
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
Oh, force fields, you got to be careful there, Drogo. Oh, God.
Well, he does let 4 Stalkers through, but with the Guardian Shield and the 2 more Stalkers from the high ground, I think this is still going to be a decent trade for Deer. Oh, both sentries go down.
Focus fire there by Drogo. 1 Stalker going down for 2 sentries, and now no more force fields. Mothership Core still a little bit out of position, I guess. No, it's over there. Photon Overcharge will allow Deer to pick up 1 extra Stalker. Drogo getting a little bit over-eager there, but that could have been worse. Well done there by Drogo. Excellent focus fire.
Yeah, managed to do well in that situation. Is now getting out an observer to get that scouting. Meanwhile, Deer under pressure, being forced into going that Immortal first. Going to be a little bit slower to get vision on the map. And Drogo going to go right up into that Twilight Council. Going to head towards that Blink, most likely, and those better upgrades.
Of course, DNA is going to have those early Immortals, just such strong units against a massive amount of Blink Stalkers, basically, or even just Stalkers in general. Now, of course, Drogo kind of a bit later on that regard, but hey, we're going to see Deer right now controlling this map very well. Drogo, though, with the one with the force field.
Yeah, exactly. He has Sentry, so these Stalkers by Deer are super committed, and Deer knows it, so in that he's going to turn around. Guardian Shield being popped right now. Actually kills the other Sentry first. Drogo with an absolutely phenomenal trade here in the middle of the map. I love it, man. Good move and good play here by Drogo.
Really nice pickups there. Takes the army supply lead, gets a very good trade-off. Is still down a bit in supply, but he's going to go with that freedom after killing those Stalkers. He feels like he's in a good spot. Goes straight for the 3rd Nexus.
Oh, if he goes back to the Zelnaga, watch out, Drogo's in trouble.
We're gonna
He does
see.
it right. Okay, well done.
Deer right now cranking out that Warp Prism actually might be looking to get some warp-ins or even harassment going in the main base of Drogo, but here comes Deer pushing right
force
now.
fields are available. That Immortal from Drogo, and that barrier on Autocast as well. This is really bad for Drogo.
Yeah, that Immortal is so close to going down. Having to pull probes, realizes the situation he's in. One Stalker goes down very quickly. Does defend the high ground with the pylon cannon. He's going to have to get those probes back on mining, but I think that third Nexus is forfeit.
Yeah, with 2 Immortals here, it's going to be rough. Then again, Deer doesn't really have any real way to reinforce this by now. There is a Warp Prism making its way across the map. Was a tiny bit risky there, what Deer was doing, but in the end it worked out. I must say, I'm super surprised to see all these guys have the shields on Autocast from Immortals. I feel Barrier is such a powerful spell to, you know, turn it off, activate it manually, especially when the armies are this small, but neither player having it there manually, and both just kind of losing the barrier without really getting anything for it.
Oh, nice Immortal drop from Deer. Gonna focus down that pylon, depower 2 of the gates, kill a couple of probes, do a bit of drippy droppy micro as well. Why not? Abusing the barriers. 7, 8 probe kills while poking at the front with the Stalkers. Doesn't get anything at the front, but that damage on the back was more than worthwhile.
Yeah,
that's a massive hit to Drogo's
There
economy.
you saw Deer turning off barrier, and I think it makes so much sense. You really just wait until a lot of units are starting to shoot at your Immortal, and that's when you pop that barrier and you get so much more value out of it. Really good play by Deer.
And that's kind of disgusting as well. He managed to unpower 3 gateways at the same time. Now dropping Immortals. Deer kind of messing up a bit, losing the first one right away, but Deer's now going into those disruptors, and that's when he really shines as a player.
Yeah, Drogo down about 10 supply, down about, that's pretty much all in workers right now. Does have a third Nexus halfway done. He's not too far behind Deer in that regard. But Deer just so far has all the momentum in this game. He's the one been bullying Drogo around, and with the faster tech coming up behind it, he's looking very good.
That Observer is really giving Deer way too much information. Drogo needs to realize there is an Observer in his base. Because of that Observer, Deer knows exactly where to go with his Warp Prism. Oh man, imagine if Drogo can blink below it. If there's one thing that's going to bring Drogo back in this game, it's a blink below that Prism. And he can get it right now. That should be a dead Warp Prism. Wow, well done, Drogo. That's 2 free Immortals and a Prism.
Very well done here by Drogo, and as you say, 2 Immortals, 1 War Prism, and that's actually going to give Drogo a very nice army lead. We do see the first disruptor coming out, but that's a huge army supply lead for Drogo.
Yeah, Warp Prism in the production tab for Drogo as well. Notice, absolutely no sign of a transition towards disruptors. We've been talking about Deer, especially you, Alex. You've been saying once he gets to that late game disruptor army, it's so hard to beat him. I think Drogo has the same idea.
Yep.
He's committing a lot to this attack. He's got so many sentries in there. He wants to push in before this disruptor count gets out of control.
And because there are no Immortals left, technically if Drogo gets a few more Stalkers, he could blink on top of the Disruptors. That's one Disruptor not doing anything. The second one may fight soon, avoid it. I mean, Drogo is going to push the issue, man. His army, I think, is stronger. Don't find a Razor Photon Overcharge, though. One more Disruptor does not connect with anything either. The longer he waits, the better this will get for Deer. It's always hard to engage. Oh, he gets the Disruptor!
Wow! Fantastic force fields going down there for Drogo, getting 2 disruptors, and now Deer's trapped in his own natural base. So much going on here for Drogo, and more forces going down, trapping even more Stalkers.
Yeah, Blink's still not ready for Deer.
And Drogo's pushing into the third base. His army count's good, but a disruptor
Oh, the
shot!
sentries! All the sentries going down!
5 sentries. They were out of energy. They weren't contributing that much to the fight, but that's still something Drogo could not afford right now. He's still got 4 Immortals anchoring this composition. He's got a great army here, but he's down a little bit in economy. He doesn't have those high-tech units coming in, and the DT Shrine's about to finish as well.
He does still have an Observer, but his main army cannot afford to lose the Warp Prism there. Maybe pick up the Immortals. No, he does not pick them up. Loses 2 Immortals very quickly. Look at those Adepts doing an absolutely phenomenal job in soaking up damage. Good blink there by Deer, and Deer is really turning tides here. He's going to probably clean this army up.
And even going for those DTs here, he's really looking to clean everything
pickup.
up. Oh, gets the War Prism as well. So now he's trapped this Immortal onto the ground, and while the Disruptor gets the Immortal, gets out as well. And now Deer blinking aggressively, but onto an Immortal, losing several Stalkers. Right now, such a scrappy game for both these players.
Yeah, but
I feel like Deer was getting a little bit over-aggressive there, but I mean, he's so far ahead right now, it doesn't even matter.
yeah, that one Dark Templar, that's super smart actually. I mean, that was a super cool fight. Both players making a lot of good moves, really like trying to outmaneuver each other. But this one Dark Templar that sneaked through that little hallway and made his way into the natural of Drogo. That's what's really messing Drogo up right now, because now Drogo is forced to evacuate this base, and even though Drogo was getting decent trades, he's losing a lot of workers now, and he was already behind economically.
Drogo managing to push Deer into a very scary position, but Deer appears to have extricated himself from it. He feels very powerful right now. He has made Drogo abandon the mining on his third base. His main base is forfeit. The DT in there is just killing everything.
This one Dark Templar got so much done. Drogo is just kind of ignoring it and chasing down this army, but he's going to have to deal with multiple disruptors. Oh, Drogo came so incredibly close to pulling off a victory against maybe the best player that is currently here in these show matches, but I think in the end it is going to be Deer after taking down 17 probes with one Dark Templar.
Yeah, the one thing, oh man, he even leaves an Immortal out to die on his own, and the one thing Drogo had was that he had an army he could try to fight with at least, but now moving back, giving Deer even more time to get the disruptors. I mean, Deer is so far ahead economically and tech-wise, he's still being quite aggressive. He knows how far ahead he is at this point.
Yep, up about 20 workers. Very even army supply, but once again, it always comes back to that same point. No disruptors in Drogo's composition. +2 attack about to finish here for Deer. Deer's balls continuing to zone him out, and Drogo is not having a good day. A lot of his stalkers are on very low life. He's trying to dance back and forwards, but with 2 disruptors being built at a time, and oh my god, DT still in the back.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's going to be it, guys. One Immortal remaining. All the probes are falling as well. Drogo's going to try to make a last-ditch effort here, but he knows it. GG. Deer picks up the final win for Team Korea, which officially means that Team Korea will win this all-star show match with a score of Stutming. That was awesome, and I think ByuN is one of the hottest Terran players there is right now. This guy seems to be in a very good place. He seems to be happy. He seems to be really, really enjoying himself when he plays StarCraft2, and I think he's absolutely on fire. So I think ByuN is going to take it.
And gentlemen, we are getting ready here for our next game. Here on Ulrena, we have our Team Liquid player from Norway as the ByuL Z, representing the rest of the world. It is Snute.
Snute here, looking very powerful, but he's got to go through this guy up in the top left-hand side of Ulrena. It is ByuN.
I must say though, again, that last game, very enjoyable. I really feel that the majority of the matches today have been very enjoyable, and I had a lot of back and forth moments in it. I think maybe ByuN against Stutming was one of the very few games where I was like, all right, you know, this is over from the beginning till the end. And DRG also looked very good in one of his ZVZs. Maybe those 2 games are kind of, you know, the exception. But other than that, I really feel a lot of games have been very cool, very back and forth, and I hope that this is going to be one as well. We know that if Snute is in his element, he can keep up with Korean Terrans, but you know, how badly is ByuN going to bring it to him?
That is the question. Of course, ByuN so far opening up just with the barracks gas. Snute opening up with a hatchery first into a spawning pool and then a gas. Very safe, standard openings from both players. Here on Ulrena, of course, there's a bunch of things we need to look out for. The close air rush distance is very important. Liberators can get across the map very fast. Mutalisks can get across the map very fast. Usually, though, what we're going to be thinking about here is Roach Ravager going up against ByuN standard style, which is going to be Bio Tank. Now, that's where the island in the middle becomes really important with those narrow bridges. A lot of Terran players love to slowly siege their way forward from there. However, Snute's one of the few players with amazing Ravager control who's happy to just camp and zone out those tanks and those Marines over and over again.
Yeah, we actually saw him in the main tournament, of course, using that Corrosive Bile so well. I actually want to say he has some of the most beautiful Corrosive Bile control I actually know, but coming in here, I want to say like Snute is probably one of the stronger players right now in the lineup for the World All-Stars team, and I think if anyone can beat ByuN, even if it's going to be on Ulrena, it is going to be Snute. But the question is if, as you say, if he can really go up to this Roach Ravager style and not get sieged down.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting battle. It always is an interesting battle in Ulrena. I'm always very curious to see what happens because I, you know, being the bad player that I am, tend to just die to silly things and be like, oh, this map, how do people play this? But Snute is an entirely different level. He is so good. ByuN here, dancing around with the Reaper, not getting a lot of damage done though. Snute just very calmly zoning him out with those Zerglings, and the Queen is going to shoo him away.
Yeah, Snute won 2 of his games so far, but this is his... I'm actually a little bit confused. I forgot one game. I know that he beat TY and he beat DRG. What is the other game that Snute played?
He lost to Deer
Oh
early
yeah, that
on.
was the very first one. That's why I didn't see it. So Snute currently 2-1 in these matches. An excellent record, man. If Snute would be able to close this game out, finishing 3-1 would be something that I think is very, very impressive. But it's not going to be easy. I agree with everything you boys said. I think especially Liberators is something you have to be very cautious about, especially when going up against ByuN on a map like this, and even just early aggression. I mean, we already see the first tanks on the way. Tanks, of course, great defensively, but you can also use them aggressively very, very easy on Arena because this is such a weird, close, small map.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see when ByuN opts for that third base. Going for the very fast tank and medevac is going to allow him to keep the creep in check, really scout around, harass Snute, but also keep him safe from any shenanigans which might be coming his way. Snute going to have a scout around with the speedlings, doesn't see too much, just a full bunker there. And so far, Snute's build, very efficient, very economic. Third base was right on time, he's droning nice and hard. Looks like he really just wants to build his economy up very hard for the early stages.
And we have to remember as well, ByuN is such a strong player when it comes to multitasking, so something that's very popular, of course, on Ulrena are those heavy kind of drop styles and just running all over the place, especially later stages into the game. And we see the first medevac now loading up the tank, getting ready for that main base, and Snute better be prepared.
Yeah, there are extra queens on the way already, though, and I really think that having multiple queens and good creep spread is the way to deal with this kind of tank arrest, which can be annoying, but have a couple of links in the right position, you know, put those links below it, have queens chase down that medevac, every single shot counts. Obviously, medevacs don't regenerate themselves.
Oh,
ByuN even has to be
wow.
careful here. So far, perfect defense by Snute, loving it. Also, last thing to mention is that ByuN, of course, has not lost a single match yet, and he would love to go 4-0 here. Snute, however, is obviously going to try to do his absolute best to prevent that.
Yeah, nice little bit of scouting with that tank. No real damage just yet. The creep going very well for Snute. And behind this, we do see ByuN's intentions clear on that production tab. Double engineering bay, third command center, extra barracks going down. ByuN wants to go into the macro game. He wants to go to where he's comfortable. Multiple angles dropping and just rallying in bio and siege tanks and constantly pressuring that Zerg to death.
Definitely, of course, as I said before, the longer you go into the game and the more you spread yourself out to the eastern side as the Zerg player, it just gets so difficult with all the drops everywhere, the run-bys and all those kinds of things. But we know Snute, he's so good at these kinds of styles, and we see him already getting +1/+1 for his Roach Ravager. He's getting his Roach Warden, and as soon as he gets those first few Ravagers, he can instantaneously start corrosive biling, you know, set up tanks, and of course, Liberators trying to do some shenanigans.
So, Pig, I wonder, you know, the game I think so far has been going pretty damn decently for Snute. He's been up in workers throughout the majority of this game. Layer going down right now, but double Evo is running. But when is the first real opportunity for Snute to do something with everything that he has achieved so far in this game?
You know, Snute did say something to me before the match. I said, hey, who's your next matchup? And he's like, ByuN on Ulrena. And I said, oh, cool, what are you going to do? He's like, I'm going to camp. And to be honest, like his lair's so late, there's no roach speed inside. I don't think he can attack for a long time. I don't think he plans to. I think Snute just wants to defend, absorb everything ByuN throws at him. And I have a feeling we're going to be seeing some Hive-Tech Broodlords coming out.
Okay, so pretty similar to what we saw him do against TY on Prion.
Yep, look at it. Queen's still in the production tab. Ravager's starting to be made. Like Snute loves this style. He's so good at it as well. You know, he can just absorb so many attacks because those queens just keep getting energy. He keeps transfusing.
I don't know why I think it's so funny, but I can just imagine Snoot's face like that serious, like, I'm gonna camp. And he's actually like, he wasn't kidding, he's gonna camp.
I know you can be FPS, but not actually in RTS games. It's a new style, I guess.
Turtle, man. Just learning from Villo, I guess. But, you know, it's going to be a very strong style. Snoot's one of the few players who understands not only the power of the Queen, but he understands how to use that as part of a greater build.
Oh, trust me, every non-Zerg player knows the power of the Queen.
Those transfuses, man, you get 16 at Queens out there, full on energy later on. You end up with something like 48 transfuses, which creates the unkillable Broodlord we saw earlier on Prion Terraces. Maybe seeing that same situation again if this game goes long enough. Right now, Snute going to posture a little bit here, going to chase ByuN back. Oh, that's actually really scary for ByuN. This is a really cool move. It does push ByuN quite far back and actually threatening even further to do some damage.
Gotta be really careful. I mean, the tank's actually doing some splash damage there on the SCVs. 1 or 2 corrosive balls would kill so incredibly much, but he doesn't want to commit with the Ravagers. Zoning out those Marines very nicely, though, with those corrosive balls. Yeah, I love the way the Snoot's playing this so far.
Yeah, very nice indeed, and look at that, he's already getting his Hive, he's getting his upgrades, and that's a Spire Pig, you're right on point. The Snute knows how he wants to play, but I gotta say, ByuN, he saw the game against TY. He's seeing what Snute is doing right now. He must know what's coming up here.
I think this is super important that he pushes the creep back. I think that is one of the most important things in this game, because that is going to allow him to eventually attack, if he actually wants to attack, move forward, use those tanks for something else and just sitting defensively here. The last thing you ever want to do is step on creep right when you leave your third base.
You know, when we were commentating IEM Taipei, we had the pleasant opportunity to interview ByuN, and we were asking him about how he reacts, because it looked like he was reacting so well in that tournament, and he said, I don't really react, I just do my builds. And I kind of feel like he's doing that a little bit here, in that he's going for a second factory, he's going for a heavy siege tank sort of count, but there's broodlords on the way, he doesn't seem to be ready for it at all.
Multitasking is starting to kick in here though for ByuN. He finally has enough. Oh my god! Goes and corrosive balls.
Beautiful, gets every single Marine, not one gets away alive. And Snute, you said multitasking, well Snute's got some as well.
That's the worst moment, you know, ByuN multitasking, microing his Marines, looks back, damn, they're all fungal. Nothing you can do to get out of that situation.
Like 370 APM, as soon as like, cool, fungal. It's like, oh, CCC, booyah! Straight to the bank. I mean, Great Aspire already starting now, 7 Corruptors on the production tab. That was awesome, because if all those Marines, if they get unloaded into the main base and ByuN starts splitting them up, then it's only becoming a lot harder for Snute to deal with that. But that one Fungo and those corrosive balls, shutting that down, is gonna give Snute the time to get Broodlords out.
Exactly, and ByuN has no idea right now. He's just like, yeah, building tanks 2 at a time. He's going to be great for at least another 2 or 3 minutes in this game. Hells no, you've got 1 minute before Broodlords are on the map. Literally only 1 minute, and his siege tanks become almost worthless. This is just an amazing play out of Snute. It's going to be so powerful. I think ByuN may have seen the Corruptors, but he still doesn't seem to be reacting. He's got 2-2 finishing.
Yeah.
This is his timing. He wants to push in right now.
Snute needs to buy a little bit of time. There is one medevac heading towards the main base. Great Aspire is about to finish up. But I mean, normally ByuN is going to clean up the creep, right? He's not just going to bum rush in.
Yeah, it seems like right now ByuN is dropping into the main base, but more importantly, pushing across this small little ledge here. Snute's cut out of position.
Yeah, Snute's actually really spread out. He doesn't have that many Roaches and Ravagers right now. He needs those Broodlords. If ByuN senses how weak Snute is right now, he may push in just ahead in time.
He's right next to the Marines as well. If they just stim in, he could lose every single Broodlord.
He sees them more.
Oh no!
He's gonna get so close to it, but there are Roaches and Ravagers. Oh my god, no! I mean, that's a great fungal though, but 5 of the 7 Broodlords have gone down. In the end, all 7 will go down. These tanks are still doing a lot of damage. ByuN, with the tiniest of timings of windows, somehow manages to find it, kills 30 drones, kills 7 Broodlords, and most likely wins the game here.
Yeah, beautiful timing here from ByuN, and he hit exactly, as I say, before the Broodlords. He's now just streaming in. I could hear behind us the Chinese crowd just cheering, because here ByuN is such a huge deal. GG, well played, and look how happy he is.
4-0 for this man. No, 3-0, correct? He has one more game to go later, I should say, in a little while. So I'm excited. Score currently 14-5 in favor of Korea. Harstem with a 1-1 record. DongRegu with a 2-1 record. Let's see who will reign victorious on Ulrena.
And here we have our first player playing for Invasion Esports, and of course the world. It is going to be the champion of the most recent GPL tournament. It of course is Harstem.
And facing off against him in the top left-hand side of Ulrena, it is Korea's DRG.
Gotta say, DongRegu has always been one of my favorite Zergs out there. Like DongRegu and Solki, I really just felt that those are 2 Zergs that are also always so awesome to cheer for. Like, I don't know what it is, like they've got awesome nicknames and they're incredibly good at StarCraft. That's pretty much all I need. And they look really cool as well. It's like, alright, awesome nickname, check. Play good StarCraft, check. Look awesome, check. It's like, alright, I love that guy. Like, he's badass, you know. And he's been around for such a long time. I mean, he's such a old school player already.
I can remember in Wings of Liberty when Zergs was saying Terran was broken, it was impossible to beat Marine tank. This is before tanks could be picked up by medevacs, and DongRegu was the guy who showed how to play Mutiling Bane. He was the guy who showed how to play the solid kind of macro Zerg style, which defined Wings of Liberty and then Heart of the Swarm, and is now continuing into Legacy of the Void.
And that final we had once upon a time against MMA, boy oh boy, one of the best finals I think we've ever had in StarCraft 2. So Just an overall great guy. He's very chill as well, you know, like most of the Koreans. They're kind of conservative and by themselves. But, you know, yesterday when all the Korean players arrived, we're sitting in the room back then, like the green room basically, where all the casters and players hang out. And he walks in, he's like, oh, hey, Roddy, what's up? Like, I think that's super cool, you know, like, there's not too many Koreans out there who do that. And he's like, hey, what's up? How you doing? I was like, oh, awesome, DRG, how are you? It makes me smile, you know, I think that's awesome.
Yeah, very fun guy indeed. Very, very fun. Now, we are having a ZVP in front of us, and Harstem, we did see him play very well against Snute, and as you guys said, like 20 minutes ago, he played really well once again. Now, of
Ooh.
course, DRG is going to be an extraordinary opponent, and he's adding a very early Roach Warren here.
Yeah, I don't believe that's a safety Roach Warren, my friends. I think
This is like the timing, right? This is it. This is the dark time. This is like 17 gas, 17 full. Harstem has scouted it. He knows it's coming. We've seen people scout
He
this
saw
and
the
dive
Roach
to it
Warren?
so many times. Not the Roach Warren,
Oh,
but
okay.
he's seen the opening build order. He knows this is such a common option off this opening on this map, but it is so hard to stop. Those
Yeah.
roaches get across there so damn quickly.
there are multiple things that you have to worry about as a Protoss. It's really not that black and white. You see it and you're like, all right, that is an option, but at the same time, he could be mining even more gas. He could be going for a very quick Link Queen drop, could be Link Queen Bane as well. Like, could be just to fake you out. It's never 100% certain. You got to be very careful. Harstem is obviously cautious there. He sends out the Adept. He doesn't let the Shade finish because he doesn't want to lose it. You know, when you're being all in, every single unit that you have matters incredibly much. What would be incredibly useful for Harstem is A, to spot this as quick as possible, and B, get another pylon behind those gateways, because your gateways will always be unpowered. So get a pylon behind it. That's a great scout. He saw the Roach, right?
Yeah, he knows exactly.
All
You
right.
see that
Extra
single
pylon.
clean, he's definitely going to do it. Oh, spot on, Roddy. The second pylon, the third pylon going up at the front. The third gateway is going to be finishing soon. 2 Stalkers building at a time. I think Harstem's set up pretty decently here, but he's still going to need to execute everything just perfectly.
Well,
Yeah,
that was-
we're going to see DRG right now focusing down that pylon. The first one with Photon Overcharge, and he's trying to get in. A nice wall off here by Harstem, but the Roads are getting the second pylon as well.
Oh my god, the pylons are going down so quickly. The sentry being focus fired by the Zerglings. It goes down. The second pylon doesn't get a lot of damage out before it dies. DRG is so decisive right now.
Very good point there, Pig. I really think that Harstem should have saved that photon overcharge for one of the other 2 pylons that was out of reach. DRG picks up a very quick and clean victory. A little bit, well, clean, it was a little dirty, but he did pick